Welcome to FacingMelsMusic.com podcast, featuring some of the most heartwarming stories from musicians all around the world on FacingMelsMusic.com.
A very warm welcome to Facing Mel's Music. I got Ted and JJ from Left on Colfax. And how are you feeling now? We've just been talking about this because it's quite early in the morning for you guys.
Yes, I'm feeling a lot better now that I have my coffee going here. Thank you for having us on here, Mel. We've been struggling to meet up with you. So it's nice to finally be here.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the first time around was the nice car pileup that I had that my car was involved with, I should say. So yes, but luckily no one was hurt. And there was only a bit of paint that came off, so it wasn't too bad. So maybe luck's on my side after all. And how about you guys? Yeah, absolutely. And you, Ted, how are you doing? You got your coffee there as well. I should probably get mine as well, shouldn't I?
I'm doing great. So.
Yeah, good. And it was your anniversary, you said?
Yes, yesterday.
Yes, congratulations. How many glorious years?
24 years that my wife hasn't smothered me with a pillow in my sleep.
Okay.
So far.
So far.
So you're alive. You made it.
So far. Fingers crossed.
Oh, bless your heart. It's great. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about your latest release. What is your latest release, music release, the last thing that you released? The most
song
recent.
or
song
collection?
And collection, yeah.
Well, the last album, I guess, would be the Radiation tapes.
Uh-huh.
And we've been putting together a lot of music since then. So it's hard to say what
is our last song release? Yeah, I don't even know because we've been so busy creating new songs and writing new stuff and releasing them.
Yeah,
it's been hard to keep track of in some cases.
Yeah. I did take a listen, and it's really great stuff. What genre would you class your music as?
I say acoustic rock.
Yeah.
When I'm cornered on it, but so much of it now isn't necessarily acoustic. So, but that's if I had to say, that's what I would classify it.
Really, really lovely. I did listen, and I was kind of intrigued, really intrigued at your story, because there's an undercurrent of suffering, I hear. Well, I read some suffering in your lives, and it's always interesting to me when I think, I talk with musicians and how that plays into songwriting. And would you say that this is your case? Do you resonate with that in terms of songwriting, putting ideas together and creating your stuff?
I suppose for me, I certainly don't want to let pain define what I do or the direction that we go.
Yeah.
And as far as subject matter of songs, JJ and I are kind of worlds apart with that, which is what makes us such a great combination, because even though we're worlds apart with what we come up with, once we get together, we're definitely in the same room.
Yeah.
But there was an instance where JJ had just sent me a song to work on, and I think about this every time I hear it. And it's called "And the Sun Will Rise Again." And there's a line in there about babies lost their mama, mama lost their babies too. And the night he sent that to me, our daughter was involved in a car accident that ended up taking her life.
Yeah.
And just the irony of that. And I remember JJ saying, like, I feel terrible. And I sent that. Like, well, how would you ever know? Number one. And, but that's just one of those things that, you know, he inadvertently put something in there that really to this day resonates so strongly.
Of course. Yes. Yes. I'm very sorry to hear that. That's and JJ, how did you feel about that? You know, and the irony.
Yeah, it was tricky, right? I was so excited about this song and the energy that the song had, and then kind of some of the bad, you know, omens in there kind of came true, right? I mean, like immediately, and kind of put the song to the side for a little while. Like, and I didn't even tell. I mean, we didn't really talk about that much. And then like a couple of weeks later, I'm like, you know, Ted, I need some help finishing this song, and I kind of related to him how we got there and how that all connected with the untimely death.
Yes.
And so he was able to take that energy and put it into the last verse and kind of bring home everything. So again, it really highlighted how our strengths meld together and kind of create these songs and energy that we can't do by ourselves. You know, I bring one party, bring something totally different, and somehow it's just what the song needed.
Right.
So it's a very touching song that it's not touching exactly, but for us it is because it's so got that personal connection, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And how long was this? I mean, when did this happen? How far back are we talking?
Well, Andrea passed away February 2nd of 2022.
Okay.
So
Right.
Going on 2 years.
So you're coming up to a year. Yeah. Okay.
No, be 2 years. Yeah.
Sorry, 2 years. Well, I'm still in 2023. Me. Okay. Okay. 2 years. Yeah. It does strange things, doesn't it? To I guess your sense of time as well, and perception on multiple levels. And I can only understand the heartache, its devastation. And I don't want to lead you into that, of course not. There's so much more to talk about here in terms of what you're doing, and you're so brave to be continuing writing and working together and carrying on life, I guess. You know, it's tough, and you are where you are now, and it feels like you are immersing yourself into your music. And in terms of that, just to go into that, what does music do for you? I mean, do you find it's probably a silly question because I'm a songwriter myself, I already know the answer, but just to highlight what making music does for you on a cathartic level, mental health level, therapeutic level. How do you find that process, both of you?
Yeah, I find that I have a song for every emotion, right? With the good elated ones and the bad ones and the angry ones. And through the years, as I've gone through life, and life has come at me and given me all of those emotions in great extremes, I've been able to take those emotions and put them into songs, and it kind of blunts the intensity of some of those negative emotions, and then it enhances the intensity of those good ones, right? So just putting those emotions onto paper and being able to belt out those songs, I think it's the best therapy there ever was, right? I can't imagine my life without songwriting and music, and being able to get that out in that way. I mean, all of the emotions.
Do you feel the same, Ted? Yeah.
I do. There's we have different ways of putting our emotions on, into song, because I'm kind of reactive. So if there's an event, within a couple of days, especially if I'm really irritated about something, then I will. Songs come out pretty fast when I'm irritated, and those fast ones are usually pretty good songs. I mean, depends who you talk to, I suppose, but And definitely when that faucet turns on, there's no turning it off.
It's interesting, isn't it? So it feels like it's quite effortless. It's effortless, isn't it? Just to, when you're feeling an emotion and to just instantly put it into a song and then there's no stopping you, it feels that that is your channeling of emotions of what you're going through, and channeling that into something that is productive, and I guess will emit that message to the receiver eventually, who will feel either resonate, maybe feel what you're feeling, or they might interpret it in their own way as well, depending on how you write stuff.
And I see lots of both of that because our songs are, I feel they're very moving, and I hear a lot of feedback that, boy, I know exactly how you feel. And it's interesting to hear other people's takes where it does take them somewhere else that you'd never intended, or, when you're putting pen to paper, that's not what it was about.
That's fascinating, isn't it, when that happens?
It is.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. And I read also that you feel that you're at the best in terms of your collaboration, your collaborative work. You feel that you're at the best now, I guess, in terms of that collaboration and writing. Why would you say that you're at the best right now? What is it that is making you at your very best now musically? What could you say about that?
A big part of it's probably maturity and where we are in our life. I mean, back in the day when JJ was still a teenager, we would be together for hours every day in a storage shed, a 6x10 storage shed, and for hours just writing songs. But we were kids.
Oh.
And I think that now, with a little bit of maturity and a little bit of life under our belt, I think that it's given us a chance to hone our craft a little more. And make no mistake that when as far as musical talent, JJ definitely has me there with his guitar playing abilities. I mean, clearly I'm the good looking one, but he has a lot of the guitar skills that I just don't have.
Right.
But there are things that I do that bring a lot to the party. So I just think that we're at a point in our life where we're just more mature.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. It's like we have a lot more life under our belts and a broader perspective. And then musically, we've grown. I mean, from 35 years ago, we were kind of hacks just trying to figure things out and just getting our feet underneath us. And now, we've kind of learned to be better musicians and broadened our range of instruments that we play, right? We've added, Ted's been playing fiddle and mandolin and
amazing.
I don't know how many instruments he's got there behind him. I mean, different kinds, but there's a lot. There's besides the 72 guitars there. There's
and no one ever called me a fiddle player, just for the record.
Yeah. So you're both multi-instrumentalists, aren't you?
Yes,
and you're both singers, right? Okay. Which is your favorite instrument, though? Both of you. Which is yours? JJ, what's your favorite instrument to play?
I've been really enjoying the harmonica here recently. Just it's so expressive, vocals, it's like a voice, and getting that phrasing and working with those limited notes and massaging the emotion out of them has been very rewarding for me here recently.
I wasn't expecting that answer with all those guitars behind you.
I love playing those guitars, but getting that emotion out of them is different than a harmonica, where it is like a voice in the way that it comes across.
Interesting. What about you, Ted? What do you like to play?
I'm still giggling at massaging emotion out of it. I'm going to use that.
We can use that in a song, yeah.
Nice.
I think that historically, my signature instrument is 12-string acoustic, but I probably enjoy playing bass the most. That allows me to be most expressive, and you can completely change the dynamic of any song with a bass. So and I have a few different basses. We wrote a song years ago that for forever I'd always heard an upright bass in my head for it, and so I finally get an upright bass, and that was the first thing we did was put that song together, and then that's just lent itself to several other songs since. And so I'd say bass is probably my
That's
favorite.
amazing. Yeah. Okay. It's funny when I think about the bass, it's probably terrible for me to say this, but I think about it as being understated, as just, giving kind of the bass line, the hum, and the lead takes over and then the vocalist. But you're absolutely right. There is something really special about this. And I guess directing or navigating the whole feel of the song, or especially when you're creating it, is what it can do. The power of the bass is amazing. Yeah. And you're both vocalists as well, aren't you? Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say.
Yes. No, when JJ sends something over to me for the first time, I hear it for the first time. That's I think 9 times out of 10, the first thing I do is put a bass on it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, JJ, but that's where I seem to go when you send me something. And,
that is exactly what you tend to do. And I love playing bass too, but I think it is when we play together, Ted is a much more expressive bass player. I like it playing it, but his bass lines really make the song sing. So I'm happy to relinquish that role and just play bass, when he's not around.
That's how interesting. And vocals, lead vocals, backing, you both share, is that right?
Yeah, I would say we're both the lead singer. Yes.
That's amazing. Even on the same song? So like you share a verse or something? I mean, how does that work?
Sometimes we'll split the line in half. He'll sing the front half and I'll sing the second half. Sometimes we sing the whole song in 2-part harmony.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I just let him take over and do some oohs and ahs. But yeah, there's a wide range of how we might mix it up. But yeah, we sing about the same amount of parts.
That's so cool. That have I heard that before? I don't know. It's kind of unusual in a way. I like that. That's great. That's really great, and it works for you. Have you got anything like video, anything filmed with that process? Because that's kind of interesting, I find. Anything with you guys performing yet?
Not exactly, right? We're living in different cities right now, so we haven't performed live, out anywhere for quite some time. Yeah, we need to work on that actually.
Yeah, something to highlight there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is fun to highlight when you have 2 lead singers like that.
I think it's great. It's great. And tell me a bit about this collaborative process. Am I right in understanding that? We'll go back to the 80s. I love the 80s. I think we might be more or less the same age. I've just turned 50. Okay. So,
yes, you were the same age. I'm 52.
Okay, so I've just turned 50. Ted, you're 57, right? I think. Or you coming
Not yet. I will be.
Not yet. You're 56. All right, hold your horses there, Mel. Yeah, so we will talk about the 80s, but let's talk about how you work as a long-distance writing team and artists. What's that process like? Because from the way I understand it, you both lived in, is it a place, Arvada, is it Colorado? And then
that's where I'm
one
still
of you moved. You're still there.
Yeah.
Ted, you moved, is that right? Did you move to Houston? Yeah, okay. And how's that been for you? The process of writing, sharing files and doing everything online. What's that been like?
Well, I think it's been interesting. We used to sit in the same room and pass the pad back and forth and trade guitars, right? And I'd play the guitar for a while until he'd get stuck on the words, and then we'd swap, right? And work back and forth. Well, that doesn't work now online, right? So you have to have like enough of an idea to share, and it just has to be a tiny seed of an idea. A couple lines, maybe a chord progression, and then it just grows. And
Right.
once the song gets its hooks into us, it infects us, and feels like that the song wakes me up in the morning, and I got to go add my little part, and I send it back to Ted, and he does whatever he does, bass or a vocal, or he'll say, "Oh, we need to go this direction," and it takes a totally different direction, and just go back and forth, and mushrooms into this magical, being of its own life.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying it, even though I miss sitting face to face and writing that way. I feel like we've been more productive this way somehow. We've been very prolific in this remote situation. We think
What do you think?
Together a couple of years ago, and it was fun to take that stroll down memory lane, but it was probably more fun because we wrote a song together in the same room, and I forgot what that energy was like, because it's really something that you can't describe, because that's just the energy that he and I shared for a really long time. And the name of the song was Unrung. The song came out so fast that it was a couple of days before I even realized what the song had been about. And I remember calling, because I was on a walking my dogs, and I remember calling JJ and said, "I just figured out what the song is all about." And I think it's a really good song. And so I look forward definitely to the next time we can do that, and hopefully get a couple more out. I
don't think that song could have been made long distance, right? If I'd have sent you those chords in that way, I don't think we'd have come up anywhere near with what we came with when we were sitting in the same room, and we did get back to our original process of passing the pad back and forth. There's something that happens in that setting that we can't duplicate, but I think we've still done a good job of getting both of our strengths into our new songs.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting to see to hear your feelings on that. You talk about energy, this energy that's happens in the moment, sort of spontaneously, and I think that's what you're kind of, dare I say, almost missing a little bit of that, because you're right. There's something about that spontaneous energy in the moment that sparks an idea, and that's just the way it is. Of course, working long distance also can work, but it's a different. By the time the files reach you, you're in another energy and state of mind, and then working on things in that state of mind. So it's different. The process, I guess, changes. It's fascinating. It's not right or wrong. It just is something slightly different. Yeah.
Yes, totally.
It's different.
Spoken like a true songwriter.
Yes. I know, because I work with my music partner, Bog Larker, and we're Novaluna together, and we're writing stuff. And she lives in we're still both in the UK at the moment, but we've been kind of long distance, just another part of the UK. And I still try to drive down to her little studio, because there's something about being next to the pianist in the moment, coming up with something. And I just remember first album was different to what we're producing now. It's not better or worse. It's just different, more raw, maybe more, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know if that's the right word. Is it the right word? More raw, maybe?
Yes. I think it's like the difference between rehearsed music and then, just jamming, like in the jam, you're just feeling that energy in the moment. You're riding that wave. Yeah. And then the long distance is like, I got to work out my part, and I get to, then just send them the perfect track when I'm done. It was simple. It took me 2 minutes. No, I spent 2 hours getting those 7 notes to sound that way. But I've got luxury. There's nobody sitting here next to me like, come on, man, you can do it, or razzing me or whatever. So I do like that luxury. It's just me. I can take my time and get it to sound just the way I want it. And like, here you go. It's a done deal. So there's advantages to both.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Pros and cons, I guess, and it depends what kind of a person you are as well. I guess there's an element of vulnerability when you're jamming, because there's no rehearsal in that moment and you're just showing yourself in that moment. And you have to be willing to literally, you feel exposed in a way, and to maybe mistakes, or that was a terrible idea, or that was a great idea. But of course, when you're working with sending files, you've got time to, as you say, perfect it. Okay, I'm okay with that. But maybe the other person would have picked something different from the one that you considered the mistake or the ditching that bit. Maybe they see some beautiful perfection in that part, and that will never come to light.
Yes, it's less collaborative in that way because we're kind of isolated in our performances.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Tell me a little bit about how you met. You say you've been working together for years. This is I'm looking here at two guys who are bringing some of the 80s here to the present, I guess, right? The energy, let's say. How did you meet? How old were you? What was it like? Was it at school? And you talk about working in that shed. Tell me the beginning of that part of your relationship, I guess.
I was a line cook at Denny's in Arvada, and JJ was a dish dog, and he just came over one day, and we played a little bit of guitar, and we were not very good.
Well, we're
not
bad.
We're outstanding now, but we were terrible then.
I was surprised we got together and played a second time. We were so bad.
Yes.
Brilliant. I love it. How old were you then? What kind of age group were we looking at here?
I was like 16. I was like 16 years old. So, yeah, very young. And Ted was an old guy. He had a wife and a kid. I was just I looked up to him, and he had a 12-string guitar. I'd never played one before, so he's like, "Oh, you can borrow my 12-string guitar," and he sent it home with me. I'm like, "Really? I cannot believe it." I had no idea how to really handle it. Right? I was a new musician, and I started trying to tune it, and I broke, I think, 3 strings. I mean, it was horrible what I did, and I brought it back to him the next day with 3 broken strings. I thought that was going to be the end of it.
Oh, dear.
Somehow he still wanted to get together again. Oh, no big deal. No big. Oh, this guy's cool.
Set the record straight. You were not yet a musician, so.
Oh no, I was nothing like that. I was a wannabe.
Interesting. And it is interesting to look at that part, because a lot of the people that I'm interested in, young musicians, and how they see the music industry, how they see themselves in that, and how everyone has to start somewhere. There's a starting point. We weren't all born accomplished musicians. There's a lot of work to be done to achieve that, and I guess that's what happened with you guys. You're testament to that.
Yes, it takes a long time. That's one of my favorite things about music is you never know it all, right? I'm continually learning something or discovering something. I'm like, wow, how come I never noticed this before? This is so exciting.
Yeah.
You have to be open to everything, because literally half of the things that we have, I wouldn't have without him, and I wouldn't have come up with those ideas. And so every idea can be good if you let it grow. Yeah. And I think we each have a certain veto power that we're just not going to do that. So, and it doesn't matter how much I like that part or how much he likes that part. If one of us says, you know what, no, then we don't do that. We move on. And I don't think we've ever had any differences that have gone beyond just that. You have to be, when you make that commitment to work with someone, you actually have to work with them. And so
stick with it. And you guys haven't you? I mean, has it been consistent working over all of this time? Have there been any breaks in there, life breaks? I mean,
over the last 35 years? Oh, for sure. Good. You want to talk, Ted, about some of that story? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I kind of took the 90s off because I did a little few too many drugs, and so there's that. Yeah, I let life get away from me for a minute there, but
Right.
back now.
You're back now. That's it.
Yeah.
So, and if this just goes to show, I guess, your sense of resilience as well. And it took some time to get there, didn't it? Some time to get through. I'm sensing the hardships, difficulties around that, and maybe what led you to go down that road as well must have been fueled by something quite difficult, which we don't have to go into.
No, I will. I'll tell you that, a lot of people have sad stories, and not me. I had a wonderful upbringing. My path was nothing less than complete selfishness.
Okay.
And it was just that was just not a path I should have ever gone down, but I did, and I own it, and I try to be, a better person now.
Right.
And so it also makes me, even though I see other people doing it sometimes in life, and some of our grandkids, for example, maybe going down a similar path, and I find myself to have very little patience with that, especially if I see any lack of accountability, and I have no sympathy towards that. Of course, I'm empathetic. I get it, but if you don't own it, you can't fix it. So
yeah, and that's ultimately what you're saying is you have to make those changes yourself to get out of that. And it feels like that you did. It was a hard time you get into something, and as you say, it doesn't always have to be fueled by sadness, or often it is. Often it is.
Often it is. Not for me.
But not for you.
Going for me.
Yeah. Right. So. Yeah. And you've got like 7. Sorry, I don't know, JJ. We're going to say something. I don't want to cut you.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to ask Ted. You have quite a big family, don't you, Ted? Quite a big family. You got it was 7. You had 7 kids, and you've got how many grandchildren have you got now?
13, and then 2 great grandkids now.
Wow. Okay. And how's family life for you?
I spend a lot of time up here in the studio, I'll tell you that. I'm pretty fortunate to have the life and the family that I have. I have great family, great friends, great people in my life.
That's lovely. But you got your escape pod there. Escape pod. I think everyone needs one. It's all right. It's absolutely fine. Yes, they do. Oh, yes. Yes, I only have one child. I have one child, and I stopped right there. And that was it.
Oh, so you probably have a lot more money around Christmas than I do.
I don't know about that. About that. Oh, dear. Let's not go there. This is not about me at all. That's a whole other podcast. But anyway, JJ, what about you? Any family yourself?
I've got 3 kids. They're not really kids anymore. They're all in the 20s or young 30s. One daughter and 2 sons, and then I've got a very large extended family here in the Denver area. So, mom and dad and aunts and uncles and cousins galore. Just big family. So I'm deeply rooted here in Denver. When I moved outside of Denver, when I was in the military, 30 years ago, I felt very, very disconnected, from my family. So I need all these guys around.
Okay. That must have been hard being in the military.
I got a good education, and I came home with all my kids. So, it was a good experience, but I was happy to be back home.
Yes, absolutely.
It was hard for me when he went in the military, I can tell you that.
Right. Okay. How did it make you feel, Ted?
That he was a selfish jerk going in the military. I derailed our career at that point.
Yeah.
But it also gave me a chance to grow as a musician, being a solo without having Ted's powerful voice. I had to develop my own. And that's really when I learned how to sing and became a much better guitar player after I went away and came back.
Interesting.
Yeah, your guitar skills skyrocketed.
Wow.
That's a fact.
Amazing. Okay. So let's fast forward and bring you to today. Okay. So let's bring you to today. You have, I have a note here, 3 songs. Well, this is, 3 songs in a 4-song campaign. I mean, how is that going now? And where are you at with that and everything? And which songs are we talking about? Because you've got the Radiation tapes, which I'm curious about as well. So the 3 songs in the 4-song campaign, does that have a title? Is it an EP you're releasing?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because the EP was actually titled Chasing the Dragon, which that song, it didn't end up being part of the campaign for some technical reasons, but
right.
I believe that the campaign is going very well, in that, we have, songs on the radio in several different countries, and 2 of them in particular are getting a lot of airplay, and I couldn't be more thrilled. And every time I hear one of our songs on the radio, it's fun. It's fun to hear that, and it's fun to know that lots of other people are hearing that and hopefully enjoying it.
Yeah, wonderful. I can imagine that's very rewarding. Yeah, to hear that. Yeah,
it is, because we've done things for so long that have basically just been for us, and then for others when we would put it out there for them in a room. But this is a little different, and it's very exciting. It really is.
JJ, how do you feel?
It feels great. All the songs like I said, we've always just written for ourselves, right? This is just a personal thing where it feels good, so we do it. And now that we're able to get it out to a broad audience and kind of get feedback and hear how the music affects other people, it's just wonderful. It's a nice reward. It's not the reason we did anything, but it really is a nice bonus to have these songs just be validated in that way.
Absolutely. Great word. A word I use a lot in therapy, validation. Super important to feel validated and recognized, acknowledged.
Yeah,
on the map.
I'm an actual songwriter. Yeah, I'm bona fide. Yeah.
Yes, nothing wrong with that. There is a fine line here, and I think this ego. It's not an egotistical thing, that at all. It's fine. It's good to want to be recognised and validated, and it's nice receiving that. To get nice positive feedback, comments, and it's lovely, and it's like an applause, isn't it?
It is, and it's helping me to grow as a artist. Also, just getting that feedback helps me on the next song, right, in the next effort.
Right. So, in terms of like where you are now, intentions for the future, and plans for performances, I was curious about that. Live performances.
Well, first, we need to be in the same state to be able to do that. So I certainly don't write anything off. If if something would warrant us, getting together and doing that, I'm certainly ready to do that.
Yeah,
it's interesting because a lot of these songs we play such a wide variety of instruments. Like when we get together to play it, how do we even arrange this now? Do you play bass? Do you play guitar? What do you do, right?
Yes.
So I drop the harmonica part so I can do this on the keyboards, or what do I do? So
right.
Every song we end up with a different combination, so putting together a show would be a fun challenge, I think.
It would.
Yeah. How do we put together blink of an eye?
Right. We're both playing 3 or 4 or 5 instruments or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you do that with 2 musicians and pull off with something that captures that same type of energy?
Yeah. Interesting. Make a great video, that would. You as both octopus, multi-dimensionalist octopus like that.
You got to sing all 4 of your harmonies at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a nightmare, isn't it? It's all wonderful when you're recording things, but on stage, you need like about 100 people basically to do everything that you've done.
That should cover it.
That should cover it. 100 people, wonderful. But it feels like it's something you're not close to. It feels like you are actually willing and ready to actually do some live performances, which is nice. It feels like it's growth, it's development for you as artists and writers to actually now showcase that and do that live and doing lovely presentation. But like you say, it's logistically, practically, how does that look? What do you drop? And I guess this is where you're going to prioritize what's your biggest passion. What can you not drop? Might be the question for you.
Or what's the most important element?
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. And in terms of that, I mean, you've done performances in the past, I take it. Have you done like pubs, clubs, and how have you felt doing those live performances? Was it a great experience? Have you had a mix of experiences?
I really enjoyed the performing live, getting that instant feedback from the crowd, that energy exchange, when you're giving everything you got and then you can feel it coming back, and get that's something you can't get in the studio, right? I like having that once in a while, right? I perform with a local group here, playing some of the songs with Ted. And I know he does some performances out there in Houston on his own. So we both kind of get that, but we haven't done it together when's the last time we performed on stage together, Ted? 20 years?
Yeah, it's been a really long
while, right? Since we've actually been on the stage together. So I think we're due to.
You too.
Yeah. We're due to get on stage soon.
Yeah. You have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Well, and it's funny because when we do get together, like this last time we got together, last couple of times, we just pick up right where we left off. And there's no, if you were to listen to us play, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but it's like we've been rehearsing, constantly. And because we're always right on with each other, and it's magical. I mean, it's nothing short of magical when we get together. And I do hear that from people that we play for here at my house, for example. They're just blown away when we get together. So that is something special for sure.
We've shared that musical space for so many times, for so many decades. It's just natural when we get together. It's like we were never spending any time apart, no matter how long the interval was. Let's play the song, and it's like we just rehearsed it 100 times to get it perfect.
Yeah. Amazing. So natural. Feels very natural. And working together feels supernatural. There you go. It's very, very natural.
It really is.
Yeah. And just before we finish, we're coming to the end now, just to wrap it up with, where did your name come from? Left on Colfax. What is that about? Tell me about the name.
Well, Colfax is a sort of a seedy street in Denver.
Yep.
It's Highway 40 is one of the longest continuous running streets in the country. It was just we had gone through a couple of different names throughout our history, and we just needed something new, and so I came up with a few things that I really liked, and JJ no, No, I don't like that. And so I remember the exact moment where I was standing when it just came to me, left on Colfax, like the kind of a double entendre.
Yeah.
And when I called him, he had the same level of excitement that I had, and that was it. So we've been left on Colfax ever since.
Amazing. Et voila. And that's it. Brilliant. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for coming and for your time and for letting us learn more about you and your journey. And I can't wait to hear what you're coming up with next and your performances and how the release does. And the very, very best of luck.
Thank you very much. And thanks for making us get up so early on a Saturday morning. Appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you, Mel. It's been a wonderful talking with you. Nice to meet you.
You too.
The news headlines.